right. So, welcome, viewers. Today we have an exciting interview for you. We have our very own debut author of Auroras on Another Planet, Courtney E. Hanlon. Courtney, we are so thrilled to have you. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited because when we're recording this, it comes out tomorrow. So I'm like, dreams come true tomorrow.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So we're going to jump right on in because I know we have people that absolutely want to know more about the educator, the person behind Auroras on Another Planet. So, Courtney, tell us a little about yourself. Who are you outside of writing and teaching?
Okay, so I am a Floridian through and through. I have lived here all my life. I'm also a crazy cat lady. I have one. He's right over there. He's my fat cat. He's almost 25 pounds.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Yeah, but he's also just a big boy anyway. And then I have a cute little black kitty too. But they're such a big part of my life that we also have a podcast with my friends called Books I Read with My Cat. So it was a big, honestly, personality thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, I just like adventuring. I had been baking a lot uh,
Nice.
before teaching. Teaching took up a lot of my free time, but at least for this year. But next year will be much smoother, much easier. But yeah, I'm also quite an adventurer too. I like traveling a lot.
Okay. That's awesome. I have to ask, what is your favorite thing to bake?
Pavlova.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
For those
I
that don't know what that is, tell them what that is.
Yes, so it's a big meringue dome. Like literally, like I'm not even exaggerating. Like it can be up to this big. I was starting to specialize in little mini ones.
Oh,
And
okay.
so when you bake it, all the meringue sinks down, so it's hollow. You
Huh?
like poke a hole in it, so you can start stuffing it with things like mousse and fruit and whipped cream and preserves and anything else, just really nice and tasty. And it's just fantastic.
Okay,
It's
now
so
I'm
good.
hungry.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Oh, I love them so much.
All right, so tell us a little bit about how has your background as a teacher shaped the way that you see children, stories, and learning in general?
Yeah, because I wrote Auroras on Another Planet before I became a teacher. And
Yeah,
so now that I am a teacher, the number one thing I noticed was how much of a sponge their brain is and how like there's a lot of things that I know, but also like I'm twice their age. And
right.
so for them, they're hearing these things for the very first time. And there are times where like maybe it's a couple days later or a little ways down the road, and I noticed that they're like they retained it and they're
Mhm.
like repeating it, and they're kind of like now putting it into their own conversations, and whether that's stuff they learn in class or just like a random like saying I had said or whatever. um so yeah, that's how I kind of see it.
Okay, that's fantastic. What experiences from your own childhood do you think influence the kind of stories you want to tell?
So for me, I had never wanted to grow up. I was one of those kids where they ask you like, if you could be any age, what would it be? And I'd be like 5. I'm gonna be 5. There's no worries. I can just play all day. I don't have to go to college. I don't have to work. I don't have to pay bills. I just want to be 5. Um, Everyone else is like, I want to be 28 because then I think I'll be nice, well established. I'm like, 28 was awful. Like, so I always had that little bit of like that childhood wonder still left in me. Is a
Yeah,
lot. It really does affect a lot of how I write because especially with all the different stressors that are going on nowadays, and especially with just growing up in general, I don't like to write about those things. I don't want to
right.
keep thinking about all the things that have been bothering me or the dark moments and whatnot. So I like to write about the lighter stuff, and it
Yeah,
turns out it works great for children's literature.
yeah, that's awesome. All right. So tell us a little bit about what sparked your interest in writing in the first place. You said it was before you
Mm.
became a teacher. So what was that catalyst?
So I had been writing for years. I think the first time I even tried, I was probably like in second or third grade. And it was because I had read some story or watched something and I wanted to write my own version of it.
Yeah.
Like, kind of, I hate how sometimes things end, is why I like series for myself personally. I want, I've already invested so much time into those characters and I want them to keep going. And so a lot of times when I was writing as a kid, I would want those stories to keep going. So that's kind of like how I was practicing, was that, I don't know, like the first story I wrote was about like a wolf and a husky, and they like fell in love or something. And I think it's from because I was watching Balto 2. Like
Oh,
and like the second time I tried, it was because I was watching an episode from Recess.
okay.
It was like a Halloween episode where the bikes were haunted, so I changed it into haunted scooters. I don't know. But it's just like stuff like that. I just always wanted my own version of it. I always wanted to be like, I love how this story was told. I want to do it myself, like, and share my own stories with other people too. And eventually, I was able to get my own ideas. It was great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us then, was there a specific moment or experience that made you say, I'm going to write a book?
Yeah. So there's times where I've always tried, but recently, what really was like, okay, now it's time. I walked into a indie bookstore locally. It's called Blinking Owl, and it was
Yeah.
the first time I ever been in an independent bookstore, and it was only like 3 years ago. And
Okay.
I'm like looking around it, and there's a lot of like indie authors, a lot of traditional stuff. Like it's a mismatch of both indie and trad. And I'm standing in there. I'm like, this place is so cute. Is everything that like I ever wanted in a bookshelf. I want to have my book in here. That's made me
Got
want
it.
to do it. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to have my book signing here. Like, yeah, like this is the place it's gonna happen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Shout out to Blinking Owl Bookstore.
Yes. Hi Lucy.
All right, awesome. So then tell us, like, what surprised you most about the process of becoming an author?
Choosing what color paper I want my book to be in. It's like all those like little details are so important, but it's like I don't know if I want my book in cream or white. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
never
it's
thought of
hard.
that.
Yeah, it's
um,
hard.
it is hard. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. That was definitely the main thing. Oh, so the other day I was chatting with like a planetarium to just to be like, hey, maybe would you be interested in me coming to an event there? And in their response, they were like, just so like, we're upfront and we are a nonprofit. We wouldn't be able to afford any appearance fees. And I'm like, you're talking for me? Like, what? I would have never thought that would be anything that someone would even have thought
Yep.
for me,
Yeah.
towards me. And I'm like, nah, I just want to go in and read to kids
Yeah.
and share
Yeah.
my book and share it.
Which is amazing, which is amazing. And you know what? That's a good point. A lot of authors don't think about, after they publish their book and after it's on shelves and it's available through retailers, either online or brick and mortar, that there's so much more. The
Yeah.
appearances, speaking engagements. And yes, you're right. That is part of, the beautiful extension of publishing a book is the ability to be paid for your appearances. But
Hmm.
it's also amazing, Courtney, when authors like you give back to their communities and they truly just want to see their words out in the world, see the joy in
Yeah.
faces, especially young faces, when they hear your stories or they read them. So huge shout out to you on that.
Yeah, I can't wait. My plan tomorrow to celebrate is to go around to two little libraries and put my book in there, because now I'll be like, now I can.
Awesome.
It can go in here.
Yes, it can. It can. That's awesome. That is fantastic. So, what draws you specifically to writing for children rather than adults? I know you mentioned the aspect of the positivity and keeping things light and kind of that child element. Is there anything else?
The way that children's stories are, we don't get to have a lot of that in adult literature. I think I can only think of one author where it was like this fairy tale vibe, and it's
Mhm.
like, I mean, it's still, I mean, I guess it's cozy, but is which is weird because I hate cozy. I don't like reading cozy stories myself, but when it's paired like to be like a fairy tale but with adults, like I like that. So with the children's books, I get more freedom with that. There's a
Mm.
lot more like, oh, you know what? I can throw this random thing in there and it's going to be amazing. It's going to make sense and not at the same time, and it doesn't matter. Like
Right,
it's like
right.
cuz it's about the whole wonder. It's about like, oh, wow, that's so cool. That's amazing. Like imagine if that was actually real, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. In children's minds, the imagination, we lose a lot of that as we get older. So
Yeah.
taking advantage of the opportunity to allow their minds to wander, in
Mhm.
that wonder is, or wander in that wonder is amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell us, yeah. So tell us, what do you hope young readers feel or even learn when they read Auroras on Another Planet?
I think the main thing I want them to take away from my book is to dance because you do it, and then even apply that to anything that you love. Is like just because like you're not a professional, you're not the best one, doesn't mean like you can't not do it. Just keep going. Just do it because you love it. And that's like really with anything. Like for example, like we're adults, if we want to read a middle grade book just because it sounds really cute, why not? Does it bring you joy? Absolutely do it. And there's a couple times where I've asked my own students that. I'm like, does this bring you joy? And then they're like, hmm. They make them think about it. And I'm like, is it worth doing? Does it bring you joy? If
Yeah,
it doesn't, well then no. But if it does, why not?
good point. Good point. Are there other children's authors or books that inspired your style or approach?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because I didn't realize that when I wrote it, it was going to be a children's book
So
originally.
so then let's jump to that.
Yeah.
Where did the idea for this story come from?
Okay. So it's so cliche, but it did come from a dream I had. I am a very vivid dreamer. I'm also about 70% lucid when I'm dreaming.
Nice.
So what it was during that time when when they were having a lot of news articles in the cycle about like the auroras, and you could see it so like at this latitude or whatever, everyone go
Yep.
outside, there's a big solar storm, and you see it like in Florida or something like that. So it was during that time frame, and also when I was reading When the Moon Hatched, because
Oh,
the setting is very aurora heavy.
yeah.
That world building is amazing. Like the time of day is based off the auroras. Like so combining those two things, I think that's what prompted the dream to happen. And so like the dream started with the tram. We went up the mountain, and I remember like having to, I was like with my dance class, and we had to get on quickly because it was gonna be, we were gonna be late. Went to the castle, and then like the auroras happened in my brain, and it wasn't like normal auroras. They were like paint splatters, and like the shapes were physically moving, and it was weird. I think I probably ate too many sweets before I went to bed that night. But then I woke up and I realized like I had to write this down. Like like I could not continue on with my day if I did not write it down. And I did it within the 2 hours. And the rest is history.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about like what part of the book was the most fun to write, and then maybe what part challenged you the most.
Okay. The part that challenged me the most was probably the beginning and the end, because I already had the middle from the dream.
Mhm.
But I'm like, okay, well, how did they get there? And then what did they do after they see the aurora? I don't know. So then I had to think of something that works. I tied it up in a nice little bow that, in a way, was a happy ending too, because it is about children. So I think that was the hardest. But then once I got the idea, it was like smooth sailing. But the most fun was probably writing the like them viewing the actual aurora, like when the aurora is happening. That was probably the most fun. I loved that chapter a lot.
Yeah, I would agree. And
Mhm.
yes, I have read
Yeah.
it. Yes, I agree. Um, so tell us a little bit about, you just mentioned, the hardest part was like coming up with the beginning and the end because you already had the middle portion from your dream. Tell us a little bit about like what does your writing process look like? Is it structured? Is it spontaneous? Is it somewhere in
Right.
between?
So the weird thing is that my writing structure for the children's like books are is much different from my regular writing structure. But and yet somehow it works. My regular writing structure, I am a plotter. I plot out literally chapter by chapter and not like the most intricate things, but I'm like, but here are the main points that happen. Here's maybe some quotes I already thought of that I'm gonna just throw in there when the time is right. And like is then I just work through the outline. But for the children's books, I have written the short story first. Like the really like it's like the main scene that is like the why we are there scene. That is written first, and then I write the story around it.
Oh, okay. All
Hmm.
right, fantastic. So it's a little bit of both then. You've kind of you tend to do a little bit of outlining, not always for children's stories, but you have that center section, the catalyst of your
Yes,
story, and then you create around that. That is
yeah,
fantastic.
and like sometimes like if I'm like okay now I have to sit down and flesh this out, I'll write an outline that way I don't forget things because I absolutely will forget. Out of sight, out of mind. I that is me. So
Got it. Got it. So I want to talk a little bit about the illustrations. You have some amazing
they're my
illustrations
favorite.
in this book. Just fantastic. So tell us a little bit about like what role does illustration play in how you imagine your stories? You're also a very vivid, lucid dreamer. So talk a little bit about that.
Right. And the most amazing thing about it was that Jules, my illustrator, she captured my brain perfectly, especially like the scene is the picture after the last one you showed is the one where the kids are dancing on the balcony and swear to whatever was there. I was there. Like she captured it perfectly. And so I think it's really nice to have the illustrations because there are people who actually, when they read, they don't have like the images. They're just straight up reading the words, and that's what they're getting is just full on that. And a small percentage of people, but I think the illustrations help to connect to be like, oh yes, this is what I am imagining in my brain as I'm reading this, and then they can continue to see it as they keep going.
That's awesome. All right. So, Courtney, tell us a little bit about how do you balance your teaching life with your writing life?
So it is difficult. It's difficult because I'm my first year teacher. And so I don't have any lesson plans yet, or at least I didn't. Now we're at the end of the year. I have everything all done. So next year it'll be much easier to have that free time at home to spend writing. And luckily, before I became a teacher, Auroras was already done. It was just more about writing new stuff. And there's been a lot going on in my head, and I want to write. It was hard because I'd be tired. I've been wanting to write all day, but then I finally get home and I'm just my brain is just way too fatigued.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
exhausted.
yeah. Starting in January, though, I noticed that there was that shift because I got ahead, and so then I was able to actually do more writing. And I think my next year will be more like that, where I have that free time because I already got my lessons done. I know what I'm doing. I just need to tweak something here and there, and that's it. So I
That's
have so
awesome.
much more free time, and I'll have the summer to write. I am so
Yes.
excited.
Like all the teacher writers across the planet, summer is a beautiful time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like I've already planned. Like I'm gonna go to the library just so I can have some quiet time.
That's awesome. Good,
Yeah,
good. Well, I hope that this summer, which is so close, is extremely productive for you.
yeah. Thank you.
Of course. So I'd really love to know, and I'm sure our audiences, our viewers and our audiences would as well. What do you hope this debut book opens the door to? More books, school visits, all of the above, something else?
Definitely all the above. But I think primarily more books. I think this could absolutely snowball into a nice, beautiful series in a way. Or at least there's more books that could be connected to it. They have the same flavor, and I would love to be a child's favorite author. I think that would make my life, not
Yeah,
my day, not my year. It would make my life.
that's
That was
amazing.
just someone's favorite author.
All right.
But I really would love to go around and do events and share my stories. I think for me that is the next goal.
I love that. So, audience members, you heard it here first. Teachers, parents, librarians, extracurricular activity leaders. You heard it from Courtney. The goal is to make her entire life by making her a favorite children's book author. So, you have your marching orders.
And that's the one thing I realized like recently. It's like, you know what? It's kind of a good thing that I went into children's because then I can be someone's favorite author for much longer
Yeah,
in
that's true.
their life,
That's true. That's true. And oh, so important in these times because we've been hearing, from reports and data that young readers are falling off in mass volumes. So anything that we can do as a community to help children's authors like yourself and others
Yeah.
to continue to nurture that imagination and that desire to read in our young readers is oh so important.
Yeah, for sure. It's so important. And like I teach high school and we're seeing it through the high school like how important early reading is because there's some that are still very challenged with it and it's
Yeah.
very surprising. But also like they it's like even though I teach science, we're like do what you need to do. If you need to take them out of my class for extra reading classes, please.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like not a problem.
Yeah. Good. Good to know. So, are there themes or types of stories you're excited to explore in future projects? So, you said more books, lifetime goal, favorite authors. So, what are those themes or types of stories that you're excited to kind of dive into?
So definitely continuing on with this galaxy I created. And we've only really been to two planets. Even though, yes, the dancers do hop from planet to planet, they're never described or anything like that. It's just briefly mentioned that is what they do. But I would love to be like, okay, now there's this planet, and now there's this planet. Maybe eventually revisiting a planet and going to a different part of it. It really is like a world of possibilities. It's
Yeah.
maybe full of whales. I don't know.
Who knows?
I wouldn't.
So, tell us, what advice would you give to other teachers who dream of writing a children's book?
My main goal was that I wanted to write a story that brought joy, not necessarily like in your face, there's a lesson here or a moral. There absolutely should be one. But I think, at least maybe for some of us who maybe would jump into a children's book, have and like it's like, I need to have this moral here, it may just stop you. It may just kind of, it'd be too hard.
Right.
My advice to teachers would be that my goal for writing for this book was bringing joy to the readers, not necessarily a lesson, not necessarily a moral, because honestly they get a lot of that in their face every single day.
Sure.
Also for me, if I'm like this moral needs to be here, I think it would just be too much focus on that and just not enough of the story around it. There's so much more things to explore than just the one theme, right? So that's kind of like what I did. I didn't really have a moral, but then I realized, yes, there is so much to learn just from everyday things, such as dance because you want to, like, just don't stop, just be yourself, be confident. I'm like, I had other lessons too. There was the other one I posted on Instagram. What was it? Oh, and just going out and exploring new places.
Hmm,
Like getting
very true.
out there, because when a lot of times we learn by hands-on things, like you go have an experience, like you go for a hike in the woods and there's things you learn about because you're like, oh, I've never seen this bird before. Now what is that? Just like things like that, or just, oh, I know if I do this, I'm not going to have as much trouble next time. Just that kind of thing. I think
So
for
it's
me,
about
yeah,
joy. It's about
it is
joy
about
all
joy
around, experiencing joy in all things. The whole reason why you wrote the book.
for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
okay. That's amazing. Love that. So you mentioned earlier you're a high school teacher.
Yeah.
So what's one thing your students would say about you that readers might not expect?
Oh, I have no idea. This is like one of those things where I'm like, don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. um, but I know that a lot of them do enjoy me as their science teacher. A lot of them are excited about the book because I have been mentioning it all year. Um, I know, like, I just got my first hug from a student the other day, like ever.
Oh,
Yeah. Um, so that was nice. So yeah, no, I have a lot of support in there. They do like Miss Hanlon.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So call out to all the high school students of Miss Hanlon. Get your book tomorrow.
I mean, you got taught by an author.
That's right.
How cool is that?
And you can get it personally signed.
So true.
That's awesome. So, what about your younger self? If your younger self could read your book, how do you think they'd react?
Oh, she would love it. I know she would. And I'm not just saying it because I wrote it. It is something right up her alley, that magical, mystical, like wonderful kind of story. And I could see her like little mind just wandering around that world that is, so limited in the book, even though there is a lot of like very cool things in it. Also, just the stardom. She would love that. She always wanted to be a star, um, even though that has shifted to a different version of it for sure. But she, yeah, would have ate it up.
Yeah. And I would think that she would have much to be proud of. So, as we just found out late last night, you are continuing to climb the rankings. Tomorrow, we're actually recording this the day before launch day, as you mentioned earlier. So, tomorrow, your book will be available everywhere, no
Yes.
longer on pre order, and you have hit number 93 in
Which is
juvenile fiction.
insane.
It is insane. It's insane. It is
It's not
a
even out
huge achievement. I
yet.
know it's a huge achievement. So thank you out there to all the supporters of
Yes.
Courtney and Auroras on Another Planet. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody. Like, I've had so much support from family and friends. I've had people be like, "Oh, I ordered 4 books. I'm giving them to my nieces and nephews, and I'm gonna have you sign them." Things like that, and I'm just like floored. I'm floored.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's awesome. It is so wonderful to be loved.
It is. It really, truly is.
And nobody's more deserving.
Oh,
So So, last question before we have to bid our time adieu. So, what's a small moment from your classroom that reminds you why you write for kids?
hmm. There are many moments. My brain can't settle on one, even though I was prepared for this question. I knew it was coming. And yet, you know, I have developed so many wonderful relationships with these students. And it's different for every single one. Like, one of them has recently been teasing me with like hide and seek. He's like playing hide and seek with me in the hallway. Another one is trying to get me to look at the ceiling because it says gullible up there. And And it's just all these fun moments and just like listening to them like going through like the end stage of their childhood. I'm
Yeah.
just like, this is wonderful. I miss it. I mean, there's also wonderful things about being an adult, such as being able to book my own hotel room. But it's like they just went to prom recently, and so leading up to it, they were telling me about like the dress that they got or what their plans were, and it's so much fun. It is really fun being around them again.
Yeah. So again, I hear the theme. I think that the theme for this interview today is just joy. It's all
Yeah,
about joy.
absolutely.
Yeah,
It
and
really
not
is.
losing that joy, which can be hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And
Well, go ahead.
there's a lot of joy, especially around space right now, too. So I think is perfect timing.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Well, Courtney, it has been again my absolute pleasure to be able to talk with you and hear more about you. And I hope that all of our audiences, all of our listeners, all of your future readers feel more connected to you, Auroras on Another Planet. And hopefully, we have built some strong supporters for that future lifetime goal that you
Yes.
shared with us today.